There is a frequency, and two that has no name. Science calls it background radiation. Mystics call it the field. But you have been feeling it in your chest for days. Not as a sound, not as a vision, as a weight. A quiet, persistent heaviness that sits just behind your ribs and refuses to explain itself. Most people, when they feel this, reach for a distraction. They scroll, they fill the silence, they stay busy. But you sat with it, and that changes everything. Because this feeling you've been carrying is not anxiety, it is not confusion, it is recognition. Your nervous system picking up a signal that most people are too distracted to receive. A signal that has been building, not just in you, but across millions of people, simultaneously, right now. And the fact that you felt it, the fact that you didn't run from it, is not a coincidence. It is a calling. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share with you will not just explain what you've been feeling. It will change how you understand your place in what is coming. Let me describe something, and I want you to be honest with yourself, me, as I do. The last few days have felt different. Not dramatically different, just off. Like the channel you've always watched started broadcasting on a slightly different frequency. Everything looks the same. The people around you seem fine, but you feel like you're receiving something they're not. You've been waking in the early hours, 3, 4, sometimes earlier. Not from fear, just awake, as if part of you has somewhere to be. During the day, you move through your routine, but there's a quiet hum underneath it all, a knowing that sits just beneath every ordinary moment and whispers, something is shifting. And the exhaustion, not the kind that sleep fixes, the kind that lives deeper than your body, the kind that feels almost purposeful, like you have been working even when you thought you were resting. That tiredness is not a symptom of something wrong. It is evidence of something happening. There's a question that changes everything. What if what you have been feeling is not personal? What if the pressure in your chest, the early mornings, the exhaustion that sleep doesn't touch, is not coming from inside you alone, but moving through you from something much larger? There is a field, an invisible web of consciousness that connects every living soul on this planet. Beyond distance, beyond time, beyond what any instrument can measure. Carl Jung spent his life mapping its edges. He called it the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir that every human being dips into, whether they know it or not. And right now, this field is activating. Not in one person, in millions, simultaneously. And you are one of them. Now I want to talk about something that your logical mind may want to argue with. Let it argue, and keep listening anyway. While your body sleeps, you are not still. There is a dimension of experience that exists beyond the physical, where consciousness moves freely, where time bends, where distance collapses, and where souls gather not by accident, but by frequency. You are drawn there, not because someone summoned you, but because your vibration, your particular frequency of awareness, is a match for what is being built there. And what is being built is not small. New ways of existing on this planet, new structures, new connections, new understanding, being designed, not in the waking world, but in the space between sleeping and waking. This is why you wake tired. This is why the exhaustion feels different. This is why some mornings you open your eyes, feeling like you've already lived an entire day, before the sun has risen. Because you have. The collective consciousness does not waste its participants, and you have not been wasted. You have been working, but there's something else, something that happened recently, this week, maybe yesterday, a moment, a specific moment, where everything in you wanted to react, to defend, to explain, to make sure someone understood exactly what they had done. And you didn't. You went quiet. You stepped back. You let it go. And part of you has been questioning that ever since, wondering if your silence was a mistake, wondering if staying quiet meant losing ground. I need you to hear this very clearly. That moment of restraint was not weakness. It was precision. Think about what happens. In the final moment before a cord snaps, it holds more tension than it has ever held before. It looks like it's breaking. And it is. But what looks like breaking is actually release. The snap is the freedom. In the architecture of energy, certain things cannot shift until we stop feeding them our reaction, until we withdraw our energy completely. You did that without fully knowing why. You did it anyway, and in doing so, you removed the energetic fuel that was keeping that situation alive. You didn't lose ground. You dissolved the ground it was standing on. That act sealed something permanently. Let me show you what you are actually part of. There is a vision held within the collective consciousness of what this planet can become. And it begins not with systems, not with politics, not with movements. It begins with people like you, choosing to feel instead of numb, choosing to stay instead of scroll, choosing silence over reaction, even when reaction would have felt so much better. Every time you chose your inner frequency over external noise, you contributed to something being woven, soul by soul, in the quiet hours, in the unseen spaces, in the moments most people sleepwalk through. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are one of the ones changing it, from a level most people don't even know exists. The collective does not call everyone. It calls those whose frequency can hold the signal, and you have been holding it, even on the days it felt like too much, even on the days the weight seemed unbearable. You held it. Here is what I most want you to understand. The preparation is over. The season of waiting has served its purpose. Every morning you got up when stopping seemed easier was collected. Every act of restraint was registered. Every quiet moment when you had no evidence to stand on was woven into something real. And that something is complete. There is an ancient principle that appears across every tradition, every culture, every people, every corner of human wisdom. It says this: the size of what you receive is determined by the size of what you prepare to hold, not by the size of your desire, not by the intensity of your asking, by the vessel you bring. Most people pray for overflow into containers they've kept deliberately small. Small because small feels safer. Small because they've been disappointed before. Small because somewhere along the way, they built a quiet agreement with limitation. An agreement that says, people like me don't get the full version. That agreement ends today. The collective has no shortage of what it wants to pour into your life. The only question is the size of what you're willing to receive. Expand your expectation. Don't cap the miracle before it begins. You are not the exception. You are not the one this passes over. You are the one This was sent to. Now place your hand on your chest and say this out loud. Not in your head. Out loud. I am not separate from what is shifting. I am the shift. What I feel is real. What I do in the seen and unseen world matters. I release every agreement I made with smallness, every ceiling I built from disappointment, every story I told myself about why I don't get the full version. I open now, completely. I am not waiting for permission. The permission was given long before I thought to ask. I am ready, and I have always been part of this. If something shifted while you were in this, even something small, even just a loosening somewhere in your chest, don't let it dissolve back into the noise. Leave something in the comments. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. Tell the collective you received this. And if you know someone who has been standing in that space between the life that was and the life that is waiting, send this to them, because they didn't miss it by accident either. This is Soul Compass, and you are exactly where you are supposed to be.
Hi there, hope you all well. Let's start.